All right. So, Bruce, thank you so much for stepping in and doing a little impromptu interview with me.
Yay!
I'm with Bruce Jones, who has played Alex in the Chalice. And tonight is closing night. So I just wanted to have a little, you can hear the sounds of the Stonewall Inn in the background.
The ice.
The ice. I just wanted to have a little chat with him about the process. So, Bruce, obviously, this is my play. So there's, I don't want to spend much time talking about it. I want to hear, your reactions the first time you saw the show. Can you talk about the very beginning of the process?
Well, I remember thinking, wow. And I hadn't even gotten to know your work at that point. And so I remember kind of being shocked. I think I had a few thoughts. I think one of the first things I thought was like, there's no way a white person wrote this. And I remember thinking, second, wow. And then I remember also just like crying in my seat. And I remember thinking, I have to play that part. And I know, and it wasn't like, I wasn't surprised that someone white had written it, but do you know that there was someone who had written a play and centered a character like Alex, who's like on the surface is an unlikable character, and then is also a black and queer person. People are constantly like doing this weird dance where they're like, the only kinds of unlikable people we can have are white straight guys, and also he's also not unlikable. I think that's what's the word for on outside looking in. But I think it was like knowing that this person was written with so much integrity and nuance, and I think that what is missing from writers now, especially when people are like, oh, I want to comment on this thing, is I think there's a lot of integrity missing from parts like that. There's a lot of integrity missing from people like Alex. Because I think the fact is queer people have been around forever, people of color have been around forever, but I think that if you write these roles and the only thing that you have to bring to it is this weird formulaic idea of what you think people are like, there's nothing about that says integrity. There's no integrity in that. There's no humanity in that. And so I just remember thinking, wow, this is incredible. Really would like to play that part. I even said so to her when I saw you. I'm saying to her, but she's right here. So I remember, but I did have a really visceral, emotional reaction to it. And then, I don't know, I guess it's easier for me to talk about kind of my process into it because... Oh, yeah. It's easier for me to talk about my process going into this, I think, because one of the things that I think was really important is at that point, I'd read the script before because you sent it to me, but I remember thinking, I have some questions. I wonder if she'll be able to answer these questions I have. And I don't think there was ever a time that you were like, here's a plot device. Almost everything that we talked about when we talked about any decisions that Alex made, any circumstance he was in, I don't feel like there was ever a time where you weren't able to be like, here's what it is, or here's a few reasons.
Well, I also, full disclosure, I do have to give credit to Jack Watson, who played Alex originally.
And he was very good. I remember thinking, wow, and at first I was kind of like, there's no way that, it's what happens, right? When you see someone do a part and you're like, there's no way that they couldn't have identified with this experience to have been able to make you have this visceral reaction. And I remember thinking he was very good, but I did remember thinking I could bring something to it.
Yes.
I thought he was so great, but I remember being like, I think
everyone wants to have their chance.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly how I felt.
But I have to say, like, in terms of writing a person of color, originally that was not in the play, and it was really Jack had a lot of input in the original draft, helping me create those moments. I just want to make sure I give credit
Yes,
where credit is
paying
due.
homage, go Jack. Also, writers, take note.
Yeah. So yes, but obviously I really appreciate that you had that. So tell me about what has been most challenging about this process for you. We'll start there.
Well, I think what's really nice is I've been able to really think about the things that make us similar and the things that make us different. And I was actually on my...
Us being you and Alex?
Me and Alex, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, talking about me and Alex. And I was actually writing a little, I don't really journal or anything like that, but this experience has been like kind of really profound and emotional and visceral. And so I've had to really kind of be like, oh, I should write something. So I was writing on my phone, and one of the things that I thought to myself was, this is what, great Audra McDonald was talking about when she was talking about when she played Ruth in Raisin in the Sun, where she was talking about how there's a character who can be like you on paper. You can have the same skin color and be the same age, but you can still not know who they are, or how you can get into them, or how you can crack what they are. And I feel very much like he and I, if you were to check the two boxes, like we're both black and we're both queer, those are the two boxes that we have in common. But everything else is so different, and his essence is different than mine. And so it's one of those things that's the incredible fortune and gratitude I feel at being able to play that, being able to play someone who has a completely different essence from who I am, which is something that white actors don't usually have to worry about, because oftentimes there's a lot of white actors who will go, oh, this character's white and male, and they're totally different from me. And so knowing that there is, and also it gives you a really, unfortunately, the thing that saddens me is it puts a big spotlight on the clear disparity when it comes to parts. And but it also it fills me with gratitude knowing that I was, chosen to do it, and I feel a deep responsibility to the character and to Emily. And I think even going into this process, there was kind of these rewrites, and I think I read like 4 drafts, and this kind of constant communication, and I felt like there's the experience of...
Don't worry, we're still recording, sorry.
No, it's fine. The experience of getting to be with the writer in the room, getting to ask the questions in the room, getting to knowing that the writer and the team trusts your judgment enough to go that, oh, this needs to be different, this isn't working. And I also feel very strongly about, I'm lucky that I guess whoever I am, I was trusted enough for that. And so that's one thing that has been a gift about the process, is feeling utterly listened to, utterly safe. It's always tough when you're like, when are we gonna get to do the play again? And it's like, oh, because already I didn't have a chance to miss it because I've been so in the moment. And now, of course, as I was walking out of my apartment today, I was like, oh my God, am I like about to play like the most incredibly profound role in my career at 27, and no one's gonna get to see? I can't. Woo. And so that's incredible. We have a very heart-led director, and I think that our team is very heart-led. And I also think my understanding of religion has always been iffy, because spoiler alert, in real life I'm like a witch. So
spoilers.
And so being able to really also explore Catholicism and kind of having the opportunity to explore all these things that I never really, I think, got to really explore in my religious life, and that was a huge part of the work. And even though we have had very little time, we basically have had 3 weeks of rehearsal, I believe.
Yep.
And so knowing that when you want to make theater in New York and you're not a part of a corporation, you have 3 weeks to make a thing, and somehow you have to figure out how to make a human being, and that every single moment is valuable. And so that's something that has really been really profound and lovely. I also, I guess the only frustration is, only getting to do it 4 times, and
well, that's, there could be future.
There could be future.
We're not gonna
for now,
say,
exactly. We both knocked on wood. But and there's a lot of factors in trying to make a show happen, and you try not to take it all on and try not to be like, if like people don't like it or people don't, it's all my fault. But I do think that there is I'm very old school in the sense that I do think that there is a responsibility when you are the lead. I do think that there is a level of responsibility and a level of leadership one has to take, and also a level of focus. And so I've had the balance of focus and being able to do my job, but also feeling like I feel like I know enough and have enough knowledge that I can engage in the room and answer hard questions about who this person is. And, you know, of course, you know, working with Austin Pendleton and kind of us having our 1 4-hour rehearsal together, he asked me a lot of questions that I'd already answered myself way early on, and I felt very like on the right track. I know who this person is. And I think I've also kind of forced everyone else to maybe do the same in the sense, you know, because, you know, I've had an incredible scene partner, Kevin Martinez, who plays my partner in the play. At first, he was like, God, he's like, I don't need to know all this stuff, like, this is stupid. And I was like, well, no, you know, we have to, you know, there are things that if we learn these things, it's going to be so much easier and special for us. And he, I think, came around, and that was really great.
Awesome. So the last question is, I'd like to know from your perspective, Bruce, why is it important to be doing this play here and now?
Oh my God. Ooh, gosh, I feel like I hope I don't have an underwhelming answer for that.
Oh, you don't, there's no, this
okay,
is
great.
like...
I think that, I mean, it is so important to see people of color being human beings experiencing pain and loss and love and everything in between. And I think that when you have underrepresented people and you have the opportunity to look at them and be able to be like, oh, this person has experienced profound pain and profound joy, and you know, that is so important. And I think that, and especially in the case of Alex, I mean, this character is really someone who is having a hard time. He has been, I'm going to say he's been emotionally abused by his family. He's been essentially disowned by his family. And instead of, you know, falling into drugs or alcohol, he fell into his studies. And he threw himself into his studies and became a very smart person. But he's also profoundly lonely. And that's the thing that I think, oh, I'm going to cry. But so I think that's the thing that makes me feel a very deep responsibility.
Thank you so much,
And also
Bruce.
why it's important.
Oh. Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you so much for
you, Emily.
doing this with me. And I'm sure we will do it again.
Yeah.
So have a great opening night.
Thank you.
Break legs.
Love you.
Love you too.